Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about what happens when you fail an assessment and things don't quite to plan. I am a university lecturer and have been for about 6 years now, and I'm going to be talking both from my experience as a lecturer, having had to fail students on first attempt and then support them through to getting it right the next time, or even having to fail students on the second attempt because the necessary work hasn't happened. But also as my experience when I was a student, right? As an undergraduate, I failed on a second year module and I failed something else in my master's degree. So we're going to talk about what I did that made it come round right the second time. And I really want to give you this advice to sort of acknowledge that it sucks. Like, it really sucks, especially when you are raw in that initial moment of finding out your grade. But that's okay, because the first thing that you need to do is just feel that. Just be in your feelings, be upset, be disappointed, be angry, be confused, all of that. Like, that is the necessary first step before you do anything practical. Just feel it, and like feel it for a few days. Like, give yourself a good few days. Don't bother going back to read the comments just yet, because you're not going to be in a position to read them properly. You're not going to be in a position to take them on meaningfully. So don't bother, you'll just upset yourself more. So feel it all, get that out of your system, and then in a few days' time, come back clear-headed, have another look at what the feedback is. At that point, it might be easier to go, oh yeah, okay, I kind of get where they're coming from here. But even if you're not, that's also fine. Whichever way you find yourself, whether you're thinking, oh yeah, I kind of agree with them, or no, I still don't think I should have failed, I don't understand what happened, where did it all go wrong, what do I do next, what does this mean for me? Wherever you're feeling, once you've dealt with the emotional impact of a failed assessment, is go and speak to your lecturer. I cannot express this enough. The value of one-on-one time with your lecturer, who will understand who you are and what you've done and what you need to do to change so that it meets the criteria and it's good enough for next time. So spend that time, reach out to them and say, I want to talk about my essay, I want to talk about my exam, I want to talk about where things went wrong here, so that next time you've got a much better chance. There is some that you can do on your own using the written feedback that you've received. That will only get you so far. And what I have found from working with my students is, especially if someone has just completely answered a different question, right, and they've gone off track, it can be very difficult to figure out how to get back onto track, how to get back in the right direction and figure out, oh, what did you actually want from me then? Like, because I've totally misinterpreted what I was asked to do. So what actually am I meant to do? Because you're still thinking in your first interpretation, right? So reach out and get some time to speak with your lecturer. I used to, for a while, I think about a year or two, I kept a spreadsheet of each time a student of mine failed on first attempt, and then I tracked their grade, and then I tracked their second attempt grade, and then I also tracked whether or not they came for a tutorial. And I also put my own failed assessment grade, right? Because I did my master's while I was also teaching. So I added my own data to this. And what was really, really interesting, obviously it was too small a sample to show any kind of causation. But there was a really strong correlation with the students that went from a fail grade, so 30 something normally, to a strong pass, 50, 55 and above. It's more than in. Those students typically came to tutorials, and it was uncommon for students to get 55 and above if they hadn't. Equally, the students that went from sort of 37 to 43 and just scraped over that pass line were more likely the ones that hadn't engaged in a tutorial, because they'd not had that sit down time to work with someone. Or if they didn't scrape over to just above the pass line, it was a second attempt fail because something had been missed. So I cannot express enough how valuable it is to sit with the person that marked you, or sit with a module lead, or sit with another person that teaches on that module and go, where did it all go wrong? Can I talk to you about the feedback I received? Can I discuss the comments that you've given me? so that I can understand this better, and you will set yourself up really nicely for round 2. With that in mind, I want to talk about what happened when I failed my assessment. So in my second year of my BSc course, I had to do a presentation, and I kind of thought, oh, this will be easy, it doesn't need much work. And I think I put in maybe 2 hours of work into it, which was quite like unlike me then and unlike me now. So I'm not sure what happened, but I just thought, whatever, it doesn't need much work, I'll pass it easy and it'll be no problem. So I submitted something, forgot about it, and 3 weeks later I get back a grade and it was 38%. And I thought, oh, something's gone wrong. So I got in touch with my lecturer, and I remember going into his office and he showed me up on the screen my work and was like, Ella, have a look at this. Like, just let me know what you think of it. And I'd had sort of 3-4 weeks by this point to detach myself from what I'd submitted. So it was almost like seeing it again for the first time. And I do really feel like it was like I saw it again for the first time. And he was like, what do you think of this? And I looked at it and I went, that's really bad. Like, no wonder you failed me. And I really said that to him. I was like, yeah, I can see why you made the decision that you did, and I fully accept it. And it was just so funny to think, like, it was just so obviously not it. It was far from it. So we had a good conversation for about half an hour about what needed changing, and I was like, well, the presentation of it, the quality of the writing is pants, so that's step 1. But here's some other more intricate points that I could pick up on. And then on my second time as a master's student, it was my research design and ethics module. Really interesting module. I'd really enjoyed it. I'd really got stuck in, and there was a lot going on for me at the time. There was a whole lot going on for me at the time. Work had been mental. The module was difficult, and I was focusing more on another module that was submitted like the week before. So I'd not given it as much time because I'd not managed my resources well. I'd been on strike the month previously, so money was weird, work was weird, everything was all over the place. My mental health probably wasn't great either, and I hadn't thought to use my support plan extension that I had available to me. And so what I submitted was all right, but I had missed something. And I remember going to a tutorial with my lecturer for that and my professor, and I said, what happened? Like, I know this wasn't my best work, but clearly it was much worse than even I had anticipated it was going to be. And I remember the conversation I had with him was one that I had had with a whole bunch of my students as well. And he said, it's a really nice piece of work, like it's reasonable quality, but you've missed something critical from the criteria, so I can't pass you. And I was like, oh, okay, what did I miss? How do I bring it in? And so there were sort of 5 key things that we had to do, and I'd done the first 4 and I'd missed the last one. And he was like, without that 5th thing, I can't pass you. So you need to make sure that that gets in. You need to make a smart decision about what comes out to make space for it. And here's some other tweaks about the quality of the content. And that one went from 46 up to 70%, which was like a huge improvement simply from having that conversation. Because I think if I hadn't had that conversation, I would have just made the like quality improvements and been like, okay, I'm going to treat this like I've got a month extension. I'm going to go again, have another think about the quality of it, and I would still have missed that essential criteria. So I'm really glad that I sat down with my professor and asked, what am I doing? What do I need to change here? So it is what it is. I don't mind. I'm really glad that I've done better, but I think it's helpful to know that it can get better. So once you have felt your feelings about it, and then you've gone and had a tutorial appointment one-to-one with your professor, however you end up meeting them, talking it through, getting that clarity, asking all the questions, and there really are never any silly questions, especially if you're thinking, I still don't get why I didn't make it, like what am I missing? That's the questions that we want, and we can really have a nice constructive consideration about how to get it right for the second attempt, but also how to use that feedback for going forward. And so the next thing to do is take all the feedback that you've received, whether that is the written feedback directly onto your assessment, or whether that is the discussion-based feedback that you've had in your tutorial, and write it out like a list. A whole bunch of bullet points, a full list of what you need to do. So that could be, I need to rephrase this sentence, I need to make the structure clearer here, I need to add analysis to this point, I need to add a citation to this thing, I need to do all of these lots of little things, write them all down, write out where they need to go. You can put them in as comments onto your document if that's what you like to do, or you can have it as a list separate, whatever works. And you will find you have a whole bunch of small tasks. But there will also be feedback comments that need something wholesale bigger. So it might be that you need to revolutionize your reference list. It was clearly inadequate, there was not nearly enough, or the quality of sources was just woeful. And so you've got to kind of start again from your reading. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look at that and break that down into smaller tasks of review the quality of sources, understand what a quality source looks like, review my referencing format, make sure I'm documenting things correctly, make sure that all of the things that needed citing are cited, do a whole load of reading. You break down something as big as fix your referencing and make it into a bunch of tasks. So now you've got this huge long list. And in the words of one of my students, who I really distinctly remember because I was so impressed by what he submitted on the second attempt, because it went from sort of mid to high 30s, so like 36, 37 on the first go, to 60, maybe even over 60 on the second go. It was fantastic, like really, really impressive how much of an improvement this student had made. And I talked to him about it afterwards, and he said, well, Ella, I just used your comments as a to-do list. You gave me a to-do list in your feedback, and that's what I did, and I just followed it. So every time you had an in-text comment saying, fix this, do this, what's happening here, why is this like that, that was a job. And so I did the job, and I made those corrections, and it worked. So it wasn't even like the comments that I had made were editing comments, they were quality questions, like, where is this reference? You have analysis available here, why aren't you doing it? Or what do you even mean by that? So giving the student those kind of comments, and you will have received them, making it a to-do list, and then you can just tick it off, tick it off, tick it off, and breaking something as enormous and quite concerning and complex as, oh my god, I failed a whole module, what the hell? And turning it into, okay, I've got 30 tasks that I need to do, maybe more, I might have 100 tasks that I need to do, but I still have a manageable number of tasks that I can tick off and I can get through. And oh my goodness, it's so much easier. So if you do find yourself in a position where you have failed an assessment, or your grade is way lower than you wanted it to be, it does suck. Like, it totally sucks, and you should absolutely feel those feelings. It's very valid to hate everything in that moment. But there are some really simple, concrete steps that you can take. So go and speak to your lecturer, go and write out that feedback, hold on to that feedback, use it like a to-do list, use resources that are available to you either through your university or videos like this that will help you figure out how to do the steps that you need to do, and you can make a really significant improvement if you would like to do that, or you can do just good enough, and that's also fine. So if you found this video helpful or reassuring, please give it a thumbs up, put some comments below about how you've also dealt with failed assessments, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.